Gen Con 2014. Of the top 8, there were 6 near-Earth hub winners, and I believe they were all playing Astrobiotics. Many have criticized it for being a boring way to play, and it is nigh unstoppable. Once they get the correct draws, there is no way that the runner can do anything to stop them. Or is it? I'm making it a personal challenge to assemble a deck that does extremely well against near-Earth hub, or at least has a decent win rate. And I think the way to start is to look at Anarch cards, which can destroy the key combo pieces that near-Earth hub is looking for. Because that is the root of the problem. They can do well even if you deny them credits. They can do well even if you have ways to multi-access. Because at the end of the day, their fast track will get them the Astro scripts from anywhere in the deck, and the biotic labels will score it out. So, the way to do it is to destroy these combo pieces. Fast track, biotic label, Astro script pilot program. So, removing them from R&D or HQ is the way to go. And I'm trying this by starting out with a very famous card known as Keyhole, one of the best ways to consistently destroy cards from an opponent's deck. And what better target than the Ice Light NBN? So this game features my anti-near-Earth hub deck. I'm using Criminal because Criminals are the fastest runner faction of the 3 of them still. So I'm importing Keyhole into Criminal and trying to make it work. Alright, so today I'm not up against near-Earth hub. Instead, I'm playing against HB, and I completely forgot to hit the start recording button, so this game starts on turn 5. Apologies for that. Basically what happened is that he was playing the shell game a lot, so I had to install Desperado and start running all his shells, and he shows a lot of economic assets and encryption protocols to make it hard to trash. His centrals were free for my pickings, but I assume that since he's installing lots of assets and didn't mulligan, he doesn't have many agendas to offer. So after a couple of turns, he still has no ice, so I installed the Keyhole and began wrecking face over him, but still no agenda scored yet. So what he does is to biotic label out an ABT while he still can, but he doesn't trigger it. Instead, he installs ice over R&D. Alright, so now it's my turn. The first thing I do is to make a John Masanori run on HQ. Seeing that he's so ice-like, I should be able to make good use of John Masanori. I leverage on Silhouette's ability to expose, so I can see what I'm up against. Turns out it's a huge Heimdall that he cannot rest. Very good. Keyhole in action. I'm going to mill 2 cards from his deck, and this is where the power of Keyhole comes in. I'm able to take out one of his Jackson Howards. Very important to take out Jackson Howards with Keyhole, because Jackson Howards will reshuffle those trash agendas back into R&D, something which is undesirable. I did quite a bit of keyholing the turn before this, not captured in the video, but I didn't manage to see too many pieces of ice, so I ended up trashing random stuff from his deck. Alright, so he finally gets some defense going, and quite a bit of money as well. I legwork HQ knowing that he would save the money to res the Heimdall instead over R&D, because the Keyhole is what's really threatening him. It turns out he has no agendas, because otherwise he would be scoring them with biotic label. Alright, since he didn't res the HQ ice, he has enough money to res the Heimdall over R&D. So instead, I go for Archives to grab all those agendas that I stashed earlier on with Keyhole. That's 3 points worth of agendas, but now I'm broke because of NAPD. Alright, so this is what his deck is up to. He's playing Levi University so that he can get by with lower ice density. But the more anarchistic you play, the more you can take advantage of this. With so little ice, Anarchs do so well against... Anarchs do very well against Ice-like corps, because they can get through very easily and wreck face with all their powerful programs. Alright, so I force him into resing the Heimdall, and I decide whether to go through with the Account Siphon. The Account Siphon was basically to force him to res the Heimdall. I decided to jack out, because that means that I can spend the next 2 clicks keyholding, which I feel was more important. Gosh, a Hokusai grid. that definitely goes into the trash because I wouldn't like to deal with trash cost 6 Hokusai grid. And still no agendas, but at least I get rid of my Heimdall too. That is a really annoying piece of ice to deal with, even for my deck. Because Heimdall 2 is at strength 7, it costs Breach ungodly amount of credits to break through. Alright, so he protects Archives because I'm running Keyhole. Another good reason to run Keyhole. So, yep. First, I get my bank job out, and I get lots of money. As I said, bank job is a really good card. You should run it in Criminal because nowadays they are encouraging more and more remotes to be built. So bank job takes full advantage of that. I run on my third click onto Archives, didn't expect the Heimdall, but at least that means I get a free Keyhole run. Although it's starting to get painful now because I'm up to 3 brain damage. I managed to mill a Vitruvius. So I think that's 4 agenda points in Archives right now. I managed to mill an ABT earlier on. Yep. So on my first click, I run to make sure that's not a Jackson Howard. And then I run into Archives to win the game basically because he has 4 agenda points in Archives and he can't do anything about it. So yes, this is another reason why you shouldn't run Ice Light basically. Even with Levi University, it won't get you very far if your opening hand has no ice and you're forced to play the shell game. Extremely vulnerable not only to the likes of account siphon indexing but also to Keyhole, which is really a nightmare to deal with. So yeah, unfortunately not much to say about this game. He got very unlucky with draws and didn't have enough ice to defend against me. I think the most important thing to take away from this is if you're ever intending to play competitively, you must have a solution for near-Earth hub Astrobiotics because I don't see FFG printing any hard counters to that anytime soon. So must be prepared to deal with the Astro Train, and really Anarchs have the best solutions. The problem is that the Anarch faction right now lacks any semblance of consistency. So pulling in the right cards from Anarch into other factions is probably the way to go. And I love playing Criminal, and Criminal is the most aggressive faction, so it naturally speaks out to me. The biggest problem with constructing a Criminal deck that uses Anarch cards is that typically the strong Anarch cards that you're looking for are all programs. Whether you're doing Medium, Nerf Agent, Keyhole, Imp, all these take up precious MU, and Criminals are not really known for having good MU. They don't have Akamatsu Man chip infection, neither do they have consoles that give adequate amounts of memory. So trying to fit Anarch programs while still having the memory units for a breaker suite is a challenge in itself. Another problem is that unlike Shapers, you don't have tutors for these Anarch cards, which means that you typically have to include multiples of them. I have 2 Keyholes in this deck, which is fine because Silhouette only has a 40 card deck, so the chances of finding a Keyhole sooner or later is pretty high. Still, I need more experimentation with this deck, but I think this is the way to go in order to increase your chances against the Earth Hub. You need a deck that can run fast and deny the Corp of their ability to combo out the win, and I think this is the way to do it. Hope that has inspired you as well. As I said, it's my personal mission to destroy the Earth Hub. Hopefully I can do so in some upcoming tournament. Thanks for watching and happy deck running.